do you translate your perception of the world and what's going on around you back into your art? Is there a process?
Well, I think the process for me personally, as it is different to all artists, is something that's more, that just comes from what happens, within. It's not something that I over conceptualize and then do. It's something that I kind of like happen. It just happens, and I just make it flow kind of like through me. So it's more of an emotional creative process than anything else.
Is there one core message that is relevant throughout your pieces?
Well, yes, I have these kind of, where when I do an exhibition, I kind of like have an idea and a focus of something that's very, apparent in the show. Like the show I did, last show I did in London was called Origins, and it was all based around, where did people start creating objects and doing something creative. And I took that whole idea that is once again connected to who we are, and almost like identity, and how do we translate that into different avenues. So I think I think one of the main focuses is identity and the emotional expression.
We talk about traveling with your art, and I know other artists, musicians, comedians, actors, they often change their content slightly to suit the audience who's going to see it. Is it the same with your work?
I don't know. I don't particularly paint things that I think Australians would like.
No pictures of kangaroos.
Yeah, no pictures of kangaroos or whatever. So I think I just kind of like go with the flow and whatever happens, and just take that idea and just flow with that. I think a lot of the things it's I work on one thing that leads to the next, leads to the next. So it's kind of like a flow and kind of like a story and a journey that just continues.
What artists are you inspired by?
I love a lot of artists and a lot of South African artists, and I really like Francis Bacon. And today it's very difficult to put that on one artist, because I think I draw almost little bits of every artist, and I can appreciate a lot of different things. So I think the way the world has also changed with social media, you see so many different things. If you kind of like on there and you start liking different artists, you just keep seeing these things that are just like mind-blowing. So I would kind of like generalize that a little bit more.
It's interesting you said you grew up around sculpture because your father was a sculptor, and not every child has that same upbringing. Do we need to start introducing art to children at younger ages and really making that part of their education?
That gets like lost in the cracks is because people don't feed that creative ability of a child or whatever. And then sometimes you hear artists say, I've been drawing since I was 3 years old, but everyone draws when they're 3 years old anyway. So just kind of to sustain that. And I think I have a lot of kids that come to my studio and do kind of like walkabouts, and I think that would inspire me when I was their age. So I think definitely.
What advice do you have for young aspiring artists who want to make it big, maybe have their own studio, tour the world? What advice do you have for them?
That's a difficult one, but I think the advice is to get as much advice from people that know what they're doing. If you want,
and not from people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, go to a lot of artists that are kind of like doing what you want to do, or you see yourself in a certain way, and go and ask a lot of artists their opinion and see what they do, because no one ever has the same journey of getting somewhere, So there's a lot of different avenues, and you kind of like have to find your own niche and how you would do it and approach it. And I basically have a studio of people that help me do all that, but it started slowly. I got one assistant that helps me do all the admin, because otherwise it takes me out of the studio doing creative work. And eventually it grows to more and more people that help you, so that you can just do whatever you love, And I think, so finding a really good gallery that represents you, go to all the art fairs and see as much as possible, and work your butt off.
Lionel, if we want to check out your art or get a hold of you, how can we do that?
Well, on my website is lionelsmit.co.za, and I'm on social media as well.